In the transport sector, where they currently don't have a Transport Act to regulate the industry, this has not only been detrimental to the industry itself, but it has also deprived the government of revenue opportunities. With this state of affairs, His Honor the Vice President, ladies and gentlemen, we will face a challenge in overcoming the issues facing our country if we don't tackle these issues head-on. BB appreciates the historical collaborative relationship with the government of Botswana. Our partnership with government of Botswana has gone beyond rhetoric in the last years. We have lots of good examples where the collaboration between private sector and government has yielded positive results. The establishment of the Competition Authority being one of them, establishment of BOBS, formulation of the long-term vision for Botswana as a blueprint for long-term national development, establishment of private agency, and many other examples. However, we do sit with a genuine concern now that the private-public dialogue that had enhanced the partnership between private sector and government is no longer in place, or it's waning, or it's selective. And this is a huge concern, and we believe that it's one of the things that are hampering proper private sector growth. If you look around this room, and I have the benefit of standing here, and I look around this room, it's not representative of the economic demographics of this country. That's the truth. So where is the private sector that is benefiting from the economic dynamics of this country? Because definitely it's not here when I scan and I look around the room. And those are the honest, robust discussions that we need to have. And those are the issues that we need to see how we resolve. Because if we are going to have a strong, robust, inclusive private sector, then it needs to cut across. When you go out and you have conversations with some private sector members, even some government official, they tell you that we are engaging private sector. Some private sector members tell you that we have access to the corridors of power, so we don't need association. And that is a concern. So it's for this reason, His Honor the Vice President, that as BB, we remain committed to ensuring that we align with the national leadership agenda of transforming the economy. But at the same time, we need reciprocal in terms of reciprocity, in terms of ensuring that the structures that we had in place of collaboration, contestation of ideas, such as the High-Level Consultative Council, are brought back. Because it's the lack of high-level consultative council that has also resulted, even on your sub-sector at ministerial level, consultative councils not taking place. So, as one of the key resolutions in our working together with government is to ensure that we retain this very important public-private dialogue consultative structure called HLCC. Undoubtedly, and I'm the first one to raise my hand on behalf of the private sector, to say there are a lot of challenges. Corruption, wherever there is corruption, there is a corrupter. And one of the challenges we are seeing in our economy is that of corruption. So we can't recuse ourselves as private sector from that. We have seen, in certain instances, poor workmanship that's done by us, the private sector. We have seen lack of accountability. We have seen double standards in certain instances. When we need to price for government, it's a different price to when we price for other people. And we are committed through BB to reorganize ourselves internally to ensure that some of these ills from the private sector are also addressed so as to improve our effectiveness and efficiency, and so as to ensure that whenever there is private sector engagement, we have good quality of work. The NBC convened here today serves as evidence of our progress towards realizing this vision that speaks to the theme of today, invigorating economic transformation through the private sector. We have registered over 500 delegates today. We will be having very interesting topics, discussions around leadership, digitalization, export-led growth, value chain development, privatization, innovative public procurement, specialized sessions on health and education. And I ask of each one of us to use this big opportunity we have for the next 2.5 days to participate in these sessions, to make sure that we give our contributions. And I promise you on behalf of Business Botswana that indeed we are going to put a robust framework in place that's going to ensure that we monitor and evaluate and ensure that there is impact in those contributions that you will be making. Motsamaisa Tiro, as I go towards the end of my speech, reassessing the business environment in Botswana at the present moment. And as has already been said, how we are going to move forward out of this NBC, it's what's going to determine the future of this country. So I cannot overemphasize the importance of being deliberate around enforcing certain strategic things such as the regulatory impact assessment. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to reiterate our commitment and dedication to advocating for a business-friendly environment that will foster sustainable and lasting relationship among all stakeholders, both locally and nationally. As I conclude, I would like to, I know, Honorable Minister, that you are challenged with the fact that Cabinet is ongoing. We had expected 3 other ministers, the Minister of Entrepreneurship, the Minister of Tourism, and tourism. Who was the other one? Who was the fourth minister? Yeah. No, trade is here. Okay, there was a fourth, I'll try. Oh, agriculture, who was supposed to be here, but we only have one minister. Morokafel, I'm putting you on the spot. Please remain here with us despite the challenging schedule you have. Remain here with us so that you are able to hear firsthand in terms of and appreciate the brilliant minds of young people, the old guard, Borre Tiboni, Borre Shakashukwe, who are here, who know how it was done before. And this is an important opportunity for us to infuse the old and the future minds together so that we can take our country forward. In closing, I would like to urge once again all our guests, delegates, and public to embrace the plethora of opportunities presented by the diversity of the delegates here, the engagements, connect, collaborate, and broaden our business endeavor. May this NBC be a fruitful, enriching experience for everyone. Thank you.
All right, so thank you so much. He spoke about issues that we're facing, such as unemployment, climate change, and of course, money. I know all of us here, we love money, right? So he spoke about that, but the main question is, what is going to be your role in that? How are we going to do it? How are you going to do it? And also he spoke about a private sector-led economy and also for an export-led economy. So what I want to know at the end of this conference is what is going to be your input. A big thank you once again goes out to our partners, Government of Botswana through the Ministry of Trade and Industry, Botswana Ash, First National Bank, Botswana, the Botswana Diamond Company, and thank you so much for bringing Re Biennial right here to interpret in sign language. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome the chairman of the organizing committee to officially introduce His Honor, the Vice President of the Republic of Botswana. Re Terence Dambe, it's your turn.
Thank you very much. I thought I'd left my wife at home, but my co-chair has been editing my notes. As I stand up, she tells me, no, you must be short. So I'll try and be as brief as possible. Some things don't change. His Honor, the Vice President of the Republic of Botswana, Honorable Slumber Tsogwane, please allow me to stand by the salutations and the recognition offered by the Mayor and all protocol observed. You see, now I have to start paging. And distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it is a great honor and privilege to welcome you to the 17th Biennial National Business Conference. As the steering committee chairperson, my committee and I are delighted to have facilitated this conference for the engagement with policymakers, hearing from thought leaders, innovators, future leaders, stakeholders dedicated to advancing Botswana's economic landscape. We are gathered in a month where we have experienced a wave, or maybe we should say a tsunami, of national pride, probably like never before. Pride in the performances of our team to the Olympics, pride in Litsile schoolboys becoming the first Olympic gold medalist in our country's history. We can clap again, I know we've... And the icing on the cake has been the news of the finding of the second biggest diamond ever in history. With this, two things come to mind. First, the talent we have in this country, And secondly, how blessed we are with our natural resources. The question is, what other unearthed talent do we have that could possibly fuel the development of the country beyond sport? I would venture to say that the depth of talent is evidenced by Botswana, who are excelling not only here, but in the diaspora. It is imperative that we tap into this talent. Just last night, I was talking to a friend of mine that most people would probably not even know. They don't know he's sitting somewhere in the Middle East, and he's at the very high levels of the executive of a major international company in the cellular business. These are people that we need to find, and we need to make sure that they tap in. They don't need to come back home for us to tap into the valuable experiences that they have to move the country forward. Ladies and gentlemen, in one of our major aspirations as a nation is to rise from being an upper middle income to a high income country by 2036, as has been said. To achieve this, it is important that all sectors in the economy are in alignment. We basically have to have all hands on deck. The success of this aspiration is dependent on it. After all, as the former President of the United States, Bill Clinton, said in his powerful speech to the 2012 Democratic National Convention, and I quote, "What works in the real world is cooperation, business and government, foundations and universities," unquote. In taking this role of chair, when engaging with various stakeholders across the spectrum, the common thread is a complaint that the NBC, while brilliant for networking, is effectively a talk shop with little tangible results. The word lack of implementation is, if I can use a legal term, repeated ad nauseum. Therefore, what is required for us is to think collectively and innovatively as to the new thinking and what we can come up with to address these challenges. The government's desire for mindset change offers us an opportunity to be innovative, apply new thinking and solutions to address these concerns. Complaining, I dare say, will not get us anywhere. In closing, I'd like to acknowledge and thank our partners, the Ministry of Trade and Industry, Botswana, First National Bank of Botswana, and special mention to Botswana Telecommunications. They have not been appearing in their advertising, but they have been central to the organization. So Mabaya, wherever you are, BTC and your team, thank you very much. To other sponsors and to other media partners, and to all those who have worked tirelessly to make this conference realize its objectives. As you can see, we're working with a young team, right? They're nervous. We've tried to push young leaders. They're nervous. Work with them and encourage them. Somebody whispered to me, one of our visitors from outside whispered to me that it's very nice to see a youngster being the director of ceremonies, so we welcome that. Let us embark on this conference with a shared commitment to innovation, collaboration, and progress. Together, we have the power to transform our economic vision into a thriving reality. Now, please rise to join me in inviting His Honor the Vice President of the Republic of Botswana to offer the official opening of the 17th National Business Conference. Thank you.
I get it. Some of the gadgets that you are putting around here, they are always reminding you to stand up and take a few words. So that's why I'm saying it's good to stand up a little bit after such a long day. Thank you. Pray be seated. I'm not so sure. Someone was talking about the paperwork. But you see, with these gadgets that we have, when you are faced with challenges of salutations which are not part of what you have been provided for, you don't know how to edit them while you are still speaking. So a paper would have cancelled a few of some of these who are absent and added a few. So there's always a solution in everything. There's no useless approach to anything. Having listened to the two speakers, you know, you really ask yourself, why should you come here and start reading your speech? Because this is purely engagement and challenge to engage in a dialogue, to find solutions, to speak from the heart. So, yes, the speeches will also play its part, but mainly from the previous speakers, including the one who was supposed to call me to the podium. He also made some highlights. I'm sure you enjoyed a lot before I came here because of some other challenges. So let me apologize first for not have made it. I'm sure the Chief Executive is very much aware that if there's anything that will not disappoint is to invite and not to be, his invitation not to be honored. Always, he knows that when he invites us, we are supposed to make it. I was here last time. I'm yet here again on behalf of His Excellency. Because you are very important people, not BB, but you yourself, who are in this hall. That's why BB is also here, is because of your importance. So regard yourselves as very important people. There's nothing that we can do. The world will not move without you. When you talk about the private sector, we are referring to you. Having said that, it's always important to remember the Bible. Yes, Botswana le ena re alwar laela go go tswang go go yang ga go itse again. So I was challenged in the middle of the night of a sudden infection. So I could not make it too early. I even thought I would not make it. You know, when you eat, you don't know what you eat each time. That's why you must grow your food and cook it, so that when you eat, you know exactly what you eat. So when you eat this imported stuff, and when it's cooked by somebody else, some other people, know that each time you are faced with a challenge. So I couldn't make it, but in any case, God is great. I was able to get a few tablets or a few medication, and I feel now I'm much better. Probably was to make sure we use other talents, because if we just eat and there are nothing is happening, we will not use other talents, like the doctors, medication, and these things will be useless. So we need to be challenged health-wise so that we can make use of other talents. So I'm happy. Let me recognize the presence of the minister, cabinet ministers here present. I know you have already indicated, Chief Executive, that you have only one. You had expected a few more. Yes, indeed. They are around Francistown, but not for Business Botswana, for another development agenda. They are just about to go and do a break grounding for the same road that we are complaining about. Francistown, Nata, Maung, Okavango. So HE will be coming soon. That road is going to start being constructed. So even if they are not here, they are doing something that will also contribute to what we are gathered here for. Whenever they arrived. Had I known that they will be here, I would have asked them to come and grace this event while awaiting HE. But they will tell you they are still making some other things, logistics, to prepare for Moholo. So you can't win. Members of Parliament here present, Khosi, Permanent Secretary to the President, Your Worship, the Mayor of the city of Francistown, Business Botswana President, Business Botswana Vice President, North, Business Botswana Chief Executive Officer. Molaudi, le matona a puso a mangwe ba ba leng teng gano. Business Botswana members and stakeholders, members of the media fraternity, exhibitors and members of the public, members of media here present, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I also noticed the presence of the Chief of Staff, an embodiment of transformation through the reset agenda. So it's a real achievement to have established that position in government for the first time. So Chief of Staff is also here. I've also realized that members of the diplomatic corps may be also here. And of course, the young people who we try to solve the problems for them, the challenges that are facing them of unemployment. We also welcome you. Ladies and gentlemen, feel home, feel welcomed. Those that I have not mentioned, even the Bible states clearly, categorically, that men are called, few are chosen. So don't complain. Ladies and gentlemen, it's indeed a bright morning, a very successful morning. But let me attempt to address a few issues. But fortunately, the Chief Executive Officer raised some challenges that you gathered here, you must not view as challenges. You must find solutions to those because you have the ability to find solutions. Challenges will always be there in one way or the other. But beneath challenges, as we unearthed the largest diamond, you must go all out to unearth talent and also accumulate knowledge so that you can find solutions to the problems and the challenges that are facing us. Because we don't expect that there shouldn't be any challenges. It's like death and life. When you live, you always know that there is death. But death too poses a challenge to many of us, where sometimes we are not even ready to do all the needfuls to also honor your late relatives. So we will always have challenges around us. But the most important thing is that you will always have solutions as well. You just look around and you will find solutions to all the challenges. So the theme today is befitting. We are gathered here because we want to exploit, we want to investigate challenges, but not only that. We also want to try and exploit the opportunities, because there are more opportunities to challenges. There can be only one challenge, but there will be several solutions which provide opportunities to that challenge. So, this is Botswana ring, metlale kumo, it means it talk about la date here. So it's very, very important to know that the challenges will be addressed, and then there will be new opportunities. Out of those challenges, you will find opportunities and better solutions. Technology also is there, is available to make use of, to resolve some of the problems that in the past were challenges. So, Kenegere, Kibuye Halo, Okwa, Dikhaba, the Chief Executive, let's go all out to find opportunities and also appreciate the challenges, because they will always be there. It gives me great honor to stand before you to officiate the 17th National Business Conference today on behalf of His Excellency, the President, who would have loved and liked to be here, but had to attend to other government business. Allow me to begin by thanking Mr. Terence Dambe, the National Business Conference Organizing Committee Chairman, who presented my credentials as today's guest speaker. The conference representation is a well-decorated audience of people who set and enthusiasm produce and distribute goods and services to meet our everyday needs. Today's event is an initiative with two primary objectives, namely, to bring together businesses from across all sectors of the economy and advise the government on policies and strategies towards building a business-friendly environment. And also to provide a platform for businesses to network, as we have rightly indicated, the Chief Executive, to network and create the much-needed linkages and strategic alliances to optimize growth opportunities through innovative solutions. Ladies and gentlemen, our country's core development challenges require collective action, and I'm grateful that the National Business Conference has been taking place regularly since 1988. It bears testimony to the deliberative and consultative nature of policymaking in Botswana, and in particular, a responsive posture of sustained dialogue between government and the business community in this country. Accordingly, every 2 years we make time to gather in the beautiful city of Francistown, religiously so, to discuss and share ideas on fostering entrepreneurship and value chain development, as well as embracing innovative business models for growing the economy and generating wealth. The gathering presents an opportunity. As I've said, though we exploit the challenges, is also presenting an opportunity for an honest assessment of how we are measuring up in our partnership endeavors. It should not be a blame game, but rather a learning game, because as we are gathered here, we learn from each other. We are not gathered here to find faults or to find a log in your brother's eye, but we are gathered here to learn from each other. Your business success leads to the uplifting of the living standards of our people through creation of jobs, which meet livelihoods. May I add that it must be decent jobs, rather, incomes, working conditions, and in accordance with our policy and regulations on health and safety in the workplace. I do not think that here, rather that there is any opposition to that narrative or thinking in our democratic republic. I wish, however, to caution that this esteemed public-private dialogue platform should not be just a talk show, but a deliberate engagement whose objectives and outputs or outcomes can be measured over time. The importance of the PPD platforms cannot be overemphasized. The government is committed to keeping such platforms alive and ensuring that they make meaningful contributions to the economic growth trajectory of the country. Our target of attaining a high income status as a nation will not be possible without the contribution of the private sector. Indeed, the private sector is the engine of growth. As in the past, we had such a theme for our National Development Plan or our State of the Nation address. So that you will be seen as the engine of economic growth and development. Distinguished guests, let me stress that government's commitment to the policy priority of the business environment reform to facilitate the ease of doing business and creating a conducive investment climate for the sustainable higher growth is unwavering. And this is as captured on paragraph 5.24 at page 62 of the second transitional development plan, the plan that we are implementing now. The plan 2023-2024 to 2024-2025, which I believe you are very much familiar with. This year's National Business Conference comes at a time when the global economy is experiencing challenges. Global economy, not only the Botswana economy, the global economy is experiencing challenges and structural economic reforms. will be key to turn the tide and achieve significant economic growth. In this regard, the theme for this conference, invigorating economic transformation through the private sector, is very, very much appropriate because it is inspired by our Vision 2036. But we must always know that it's underpinned by transformation. And transformation is nothing else but to realize that what has kept you where you are will never move you to the next stage. So you will have to do things differently, because otherwise you will fall into a trap. And we all know that there's a trap, middle income trap. So all the things that we've been doing, which we have moved, which were enabled us to get to the high middle income, if we don't do different things, then we'll remain there. So that's the whole essence of a reset agenda. Vision 2036 envisages Botswana as a high-income country with the export-led economy underpinned by diversified. It shouldn't just be export of diamonds, rough diamonds. It must be underpinned by the diversified export. That is where you get the growth, economic growth from. This theme thus builds on the theme of the last NBC, which was roadmap to high-income accelerating transformation. So we must connect the dots backward so that we are able to move forward. So it's very important to remember our last theme, which has led us to be where we are today. It's very important. Indeed, government alone cannot stimulate economic transformation without active participation of the private sector. And it is for that the government has to create enabling environment for such to happen. That's why when we talk sometimes in Parliament, we say government does not create jobs. We don't say it in a literal meaning, but we mean that it provides an enabling environment, because government is a bad business person if it's a person. So we don't create, but we must enable the private sector, provide land, respond quickly to challenges, as the Chief Executive has said, legislate, motivate, not to demotivate, enable. Those rules, those laws were not meant like a traffic rules where they are meant to stop you and charge you. They are meant to enable you. If they are council rules, they are meant to enable you. So there must be an enabling aspect in all those rules. It's not just a question of, yes, we got you, you are not going to run your business because you have not done ABC. That mindset should now change. The imperative for a viable private sector and government's efforts and plans for a private sector-led economy are clear in the context of the Presidential Reset Agenda, the NTS, and the impending National Development Plan 12. Consequently, the private sector will remain a critical partner for policy implementation and a partner for inclusive growth. There's no way we can achieve inclusive growth without the private sector. This is even greater within the context of export development imperatives under the African Continental Free Trade Area, which we must ready ourselves for, whose objectives is to create a single market for both goods and services in Africa, anchored on protocols for the free movement of people, goods, and capital. Ladies and gentlemen, as a country, we are cognizant of our limited internal market size. We have over the years taken steps to expand the market opportunities for Botswana's goods and services through negotiating and ratifying various regional and international trade agreements. Within this context, the AfCFTA offers a much greater option for local businesses and those willing to come and set up in Botswana, enhance our FDI. We therefore have to leverage on AfCFTA as our gateway to industrialization by marshalling our capacity for manufacturing goods towards product beneficiation and growth of our regional global value chains. Let us face the question: what kinds of goods and services shall we be known for in the region, in Africa, and globally? Enhancing our manufacturing capacity will go a long way in reducing the over-reliance on the mining sector, more so that we continue to experience headwinds in the global diamond market. Lower consumer demand and global economic weaknesses has lowered the demand outlook for diamonds, hence resulting in the current slower economic growth than had been anticipated at the time when we made the 2024-2025 budget session. Distinguished guests, the intended outcome of this 17th National Business Council is a decisive shift in the economy through identifying opportunities for actions to realize an export-oriented private sector-led economy by efficiently utilizing value chain development. I'm comforted to see that Business Botswana is supporting our citizen economic empowerment, agenda, as seen by the Pusher BW, support to small, micro, and medium enterprises, and the informal sector. However, there is still more that can be done. There's still more that can be done within the private sector to support one another. Private sector to private sector, not only business, government to private sector. We need to support each other. So we are also consumers, we are also buyers, you are also business partners with each other. We want to witness growth and graduation of SMMEs to large enterprises, as this will create more opportunities for the emergence of the more SMMEs. Bochama will also have a hand. Director of Ceremonies, it is vital to mention that even though the government is always willing to support the private sector, it is necessary to also look further for support and collaboration through the model of public-private partnerships. It is believed that both the public and the private sector can benefit by pooling their resources together in order to improve the delivery of basic infrastructure and services to the citizens. Ladies and gentlemen, in the same breath, let me take this opportunity to highlight that in order to achieve the high income status that we aspire for, we need to up the game on issues of competitiveness. The Institute of Management Development, IMD, Competitiveness Report 2024 ranked Botswana's competitiveness at 55th position out of 67 economies. It's not an impressive record, we all admit. Having moved from position 59, though, in 2023, the report assesses how economies optimize their individual competencies in order to achieve long-term value creation for their people. For Botswana, the report highlighted the challenges of high levels of unemployment, especially youth unemployment, climate change, constant drought, and unreliable rainfall. How income, or rather high income inequality, small domestic market, and how rather low levels of economic diversification. We have already mentioned those. Those are the challenges which the Chief Executive Officer has already mentioned, but we need to find solutions to those. That is the question. We need to find solutions. Drought, yes, we know, but we know our drought, our own drought, we don't benefit from it. We enrich our neighbors, because there's always a budget when there's drought to try to help farmers, assist farmers. But we must assess where the money goes. The money goes to our neighbors. That is why there was a huge cry when we closed the borders. To our surprise, our own people were battering us. But today, land is being utilized to grow those vegetables. So we need to know that nobody will come and achieve food security for us. It's for us to ensure that we achieve food security. And we cannot do that while we are relying on import, while we are still trapped in the cargo mentality, that whatever comes from outside is the best. We can't do it ourselves. We can't manage. So there need to be education alongside all the initiatives that we are bringing to you. In 2023, Botswana's economic growth slowed to 3.3% as a result of reduced global demand for diamonds. Projections show that in the financial years 2024 to 2026, economic activity will be 3.5 to 4%, despite International Monetary Fund, IMF, projecting a less than 1% growth. This projected growth is anchored on expansionary fiscal policy and growth in the non-mining private sector. We are aware of external market forces that we have no control over, which affect our domestic market and diamond sales from time to time. This compels us to act swiftly in implementing structural reforms to boost growth and job creation, including investment in STEM, areas of human capital development, as well as reducing regulatory and trade barriers to facilitate investment. The effects of these interventions will lead to reductions in poverty and inequality. Government is committed to ensuring that this happens in order to attain the high income status by 2036. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, as this is a public-private sector policy dialogue conference, I urge you to use the opportunity that this conference provides to propose reviews in the regulatory environment, and propose reforms. Don't be scared of proposing reforms with the objective of creating a conducive business environment which is favorable for investment and fosters employment creation and sustainable livelihoods. Very important. In the advent of advanced utilization of technology, we witness innovations such as artificial intelligence, fintech, blockchains, among others. As I conclude, let me state once again that the government is committed to Business Botswana and other business associations as a partner in economic transformation. Yes, as a partner in economic transformation through implementing the resolutions of this year, the past years, and future conferences. I'm comfortable that the fact that our public-private sector policy dialogue is still alive and operational. We acknowledge and support what the private sector is doing, and we stand with you. We stand with you. I encourage you to make this dialogue global in future by inviting international companies so that we learn from them. Learn from the best is the way to go. Director of Ceremonies, ladies and gentlemen, I wish you a productive deliberations, sustainable networks. You must learn to network, and hereby declare the 17th National Business Conference officially opened. Pula.
All right, so thank you very much, His Honor, the Vice President of the Republic of Botswana, Slumber Tsogwane, for that delivery. The conference has officially begun. Thank you so much. You may be seated. I know from time to time, each speaker, once they got onto the podium, they talk about challenges, but I believe that with all these minds within this very same room, we will get to have solutions. Come Vision 2036, we'll get to say something very different. We will get to attain that high status income as a country, and most importantly, our lives will be changed forever. Please, ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome the Vice President of Business Botswana North, Mr. Hanpi Nawa, to give the vote of thanks. Thank you so much, Mr. Nawa. Kindly use this one. Thank you.
The all-new #PushaBW at the Chen Cheng Show, hosted by Khao Nadindwe and Sean Mongatane on BTV News Channel 289 every Sunday at 6:30 p.m. sitting down with some of Botswana's most exciting entrepreneurs and telling the stories behind some of our country's biggest brands and businesses. Tune in for a front row seat to see decisions, challenges, and innovative ideas that have shaped proudly Botswana businesses. The Pusha BW Adichencheng Show on BTV News Channel 289, Sundays at 6:30 p.m. Proudly brought to you by Botswana Investment and Trade Center and Mindset Change Botswana.
Botswana's journey of transformation is a multifaceted initiative merging different sectors of government and the wider national agenda. We invite you to witness this journey of progress and self-actualization every Thursday night.
Over the past 5 years, Botswana has seen a long stretch of water infrastructural development spreading across the landscape of the country. These developments are aimed at addressing water supply across Botswana. Government took a deliberate decision to place access to potable drinking water at the core of its planning.
Water is being transferred from strategic points across the country to where it is needed and treated accordingly, and thereafter stored correctly and finally distributed for consumption.
Since 2019, projects implemented by the Ministry of Lands and Water Affairs have improved water distribution and supply to those living in the rural and peri-urban areas across Botswana.
Currently, 98% of Botswana's population has access to potable water.
To celebrate this milestone of ensuring that Botswana achieves water security, the Ministry of Lands and Water Affairs will officially commission major project works across the country. This commitment to avail water countrywide is in line with Vision 2036, Pillar Number 3 of a sustainable environment, which advocates for water security. The commissioning of the completed project achieves Sustainable Development Goal Number 6 for the country, which calls for countries to ensure access to safe water and sanitation for all. This is built on sustainable management of water resources, wastewater, and ecosystems by 2030. Access to safe water, sanitation, and hygiene is the most basic human need for overall health and well-being.
The all-new #PushaBW Adichencheng Show, hosted by Nadine and Sean Mongatane on BTV News Channel 289 every Sunday at 6:30 p.m. Sitting down with some of Botswana's most exciting entrepreneurs and telling the stories behind some of our country's biggest brands and businesses. Tune in for a front row seat to see decisions, challenges, and innovative ideas that have shaped proudly Botswana businesses. The Pusha BW Adichencheng Show on BTV News Channel 289, Sundays at 6:30 p.m. Proudly brought to you by Botswana Investment and Trade Center and Mindset Change Botswana.
In the news at this hour, the Independent Electoral Commission pleads with politicians to inform themselves on their election laws. An increase in number of teenage pregnancy cases in the Okavango district worry the district leadership. And local finest athlete Letsile Tebogo continues his dominance in the 200-meter race as he set a new record. Very good afternoon to you. I'm Honorable Ngalagachane. Now, the Independent Electoral Commission Secretary General, Mr. Jefferson Siamisang, has pleaded with politicians to assist the Commission in ensuring that they understand the electoral laws. Addressing the Hukunzi District Full Council meeting and on preparedness of the IEC to deliver the 2024 general election, Mr. Siamisang further asked them to help make the election free and fair. Now Mudunga with the details.
When addressing the full council session, Mr. Siamisang noted that managing elections is a tough call that needs commitment, energy and leadership to ensure delivery. He therefore urged politicians to ensure that voters are very conversant with the Electoral Act. I urge politicians to make sure that voters follow the Electoral Act and let them understand that elections are run by an act. Meanwhile, councillors raised concerns about the security during transportation of ballot boxes.
Make a deliberate decision.
We want agents of different parties to be amongst the guards of ballot boxes.
We cannot say ma police are thing. I won't say the police. The police are very much.
And make it Is it appropriate for voters to spend time at the polling stations? According to the Act, after voting, one has to go home and gatherings are not allowed during that day. Moreover, councillors applauded the IEC for the adequate preparations for this year's general elections scheduled in October. Neo Muduma, BTV News, Hukunzi.
The University of Botswana, the United Nations Development Programme and the Ministry of Education and Skills Development have signed a tripartite memorandum of understanding to improve the strategic transformation of the research and innovation space. Speaking at the signing ceremony, the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Education and Skills Development, Ms. Bonono Kumotaka, said innovation and research will help provide the economy with the solutions to create more employment as well as move the country from middle to upper income. Mpo Kileboge and Alton Kwadalala with the details.
University of Botswana, through development partners like the United Nations Development Programme and Ministry of Education, strongly believed that collective efforts and commitment to collaborating in research and development will help connect Botswana researchers and their counterparts from the African continent to collectively provide solutions for the continent.
Research and innovation, those are the areas that can push our economy, that can help us to address this and come up with solutions for the problems that we have within our economy. And that is the reason why our government in the recent budget, budget 24-25, we have an amount allocated for research. And I do believe and hope that our higher learning institutions are making use of that research fund. And I want to thank partners like UNDP who are contributing to research and innovation in the economy of Botswana.
The establishment of the Uniport comes at a time when the country is faced with challenges of unemployment, especially of the youth, including graduates from universities and other higher education institutions.
It is very important that this is not just a relationship between UNDP and University of Botswana, but very importantly, this has the blessing of the Ministry of Education and Skills Development. Without them, again, things would not add up. So it's a tripartite memorandum of understanding, and as I said, it basically formalizes a set of very important tasks that are in full motion by now. The procurement of equipment for the various areas that Professor Richie Moalosi has mentioned is already in full swing.
We are fully aligned with government's efforts of transforming the economy into what you call a knowledge economy. Knowledge comes from research, and therefore we're very, very excited that UNDP is partnering with us to put up an innovation center that will be supplementing or complementing the innovation center that is already doing very well at the University of Botswana. And I want to call upon all Botswana, because these innovation hubs are not for university staff and students. This is a hub that is open to everybody who has an idea. And I want to say the ideas are there, the talents are there. We want all this talent to come into the University of Botswana, work together and take this country forwad.
The partnership between the tripartite will help the parties to deliver their visions as envisaged in the National Transformation Strategy. The country will over the years begin to reap the benefits of the significant investment made in the education sector. Mpho Keleboge, Botswana Television, Gaborone.